bon pour toi? Moi, j'ai un lag. I have a little bit of a lag.
Like, is that good? So is this, the way I've got it set up is fine?
C'est bon, ça marche.
All right, I will move up. That'll help. Okay.
Earlier today, the province of Ontario announced a provincial state of emergency.
Comment réagir face à la pandémie? C'était la question que Vali Fugulin et moi avons voulu poser à des propriétaires canadiens de petites et moyennes entreprises au printemps 2020. Libraires, restaurateurs, boulangers, fermiers. Ils nous ont tous partagé les défis auxquels ils faisaient face.
Because I talk a lot.
Je suis extrêmement stressé.
At the beginning, it was very scary.
Je dirais que je suis sur un high d'adrénaline en ce moment.
Un sujet dominé, comment nos comportements alimentaires semblaient changer rapidement sous l'effet de la crise. Tout comme de nombreux Canadiens, j'avais décidé de m'abonner à un panier de légumes locaux. L'épidémie semblait nous pousser à vouloir nous alimenter différemment, mieux et localement. Et aussi faire du pain. Beaucoup de pain. Beaucoup trop de pain. Parmi la vingtaine d'entrepreneurs rencontrés, 2 défendaient depuis de longues années la nécessité de prendre ce virage d'une nourriture locale et à plus petite échelle.
Hello everyone, just checking on the restaurant.
Lil est restauratrice et fermière à Halifax. Depuis plus de 20 ans, elle travaille à mobiliser ses concitoyens sur la nécessité de changer notre alimentation.
I really am optimistic that we will learn from this experience.
Dave, lui, est fermier dans la région de Toronto. Face à la perte de 95% de ses revenus au début de la pandémie, il a mis en ligne en quelques jours un marché fermier virtuel, lui permettant de vendre ses produits directement aux consommateurs et leur livrer à domicile.
The restaurant opened because of a crisis, because of a hurricane. We have about 2 or 3 days of food left if we got cut off from the rest of the world.
What does a food system that respects, our bodies, our communities, and our environment actually look like?
So that scared me, and basically inspired me to open a restaurant to start helping the food system come back in Nova Scotia.
Local food from small farms is incredibly diverse and abundant and flavorful. Small local farms and producers are capable of feeding large populations.
6 mois plus tard, je me demande si cet engouement pour le local est toujours aussi fort. Alors qu'une seconde vague s'abat sur le pays, j'ai voulu reprendre la discussion avec eux et leur demander comment ils envisagent le futur de l'alimentation dans un monde post-Covid.
Hello.
Hi Dave, how are you?
Doing okay?
Still there, hanging on.
Thank you for taking the time to do this. I know you are super busy.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. The last couple of weeks were definitely just insane leading up to Thanksgiving. So thank you for being patient on that. Yeah.
So to begin with, I would like to show you a short excerpt from what you told us to Vali and me in April, because I would like to know if you are still in the same state of mind, or if things change on your side since we talked.
Okay, sure.
Okay, here we go.
Something had to happen in this world, and it's happened. This pandemic is a terrible, scary thing. People are scared and they're feeling threatened, but it's changing a behavior. It does take a shock to shock people, and this is not just happening for 2 weeks. It needs to happen for a long time, which it is. So here we are now. People are really looking to local food. So it's this pandemic is going to change things, I think, for the better. I agree with that lady. That is it's always hard to watch yourself when you're on video, but I 100% am right there, and it's even stronger. I am really ramping myself up as soon as I get my arm fixed to go out and encourage and educate and inspire people to buy as much local food as possible, but also just be more aware of what they're buying, even if it's from another country. We have to change the food system to survive on this planet. Food touches health, diversity, water, land, sea, everything. And it takes one of our biggest bills of all of Canada is our healthcare costs will go down. It's a game changer for communities, for our economy, for our health.
Food and farmers needed something that existed between farmers markets and large-scale wholesale distribution, and there was this missing middle. And that's where we find ourselves playing right now, is like there's a different way to get food to people, that allows farmers to spend less time on the road, like in their trucks delivering the food, and more time in the fields growing it. And that's what has me really excited, is that the potential for this is like we're just scratching the surface of what this means for the future of food. In the early days, there was a big question mark over whether this was just a short-term thing, or would this actually be something that could last, right? Like, would people be with us? If I'm thinking back to 6 months ago, it was like, will people be with us in the fall? Is there interest in this thing? And the resounding answer amongst the homes that we feed and the vendors is yes. Like, that the last 7 months have proven that that what we're doing is needed, and that it is a new way of getting food from small producers to people's tables, and that it's worth continuing and growing. I think the last time I checked, maybe about a week ago, we'd made over 10,000 home deliveries.
How do you explain the success of the virtual farmer market?
People, and we're all prone to this. It's like food needs to be convenient, right? Like we've just grown accustomed to food needs to be convenient. It needs to be delicious, and it needs to be, affordable with those two things in mind. And that's a thing that I think that we've been able to figure out, is how do you make it convenient? How do you get like deliciously local, diverse food like to somebody's doorstep and make it easy for them? Because realistically, and this is what we've learned, is like not everybody has the time during their week to visit a farmer's market. So even if you really, really, really wanted to buy directly from a local farmer, the farmer's market wasn't the most convenient way for you. And now we're providing that same person with an alternative, and that farmer like an easier way to find that person and connect with that person.
Why do you think the pandemic had such an impact on the interest of people on the question of local food?
The pandemic made everyone realize that, I have to be a little more self-sufficient. I have to depend on the people at home. Our bubble is really important. And that's how we're going to save ourselves. We're going to build a better, healthier economy and be more food secure. And it's going to taste better.
For the longest time, it's like we've outsourced all responsibilities of food to others, meaning it seems like it's easier to buy prepared meals or prepared foods in the grocery store, or to always order out, and do takeout and all of that. But I think the pandemic, as people started to cook more, they realized, this isn't a mysterious thing that happens. It's actually fairly easy, that it really is like anyone can cook. That they started going, this is something I'd like to actually become part of my life on a more regular basis. So I think that's what the connection was. There seemed to be a lot more curiosity in food, and a lot more willingness to experiment with different cuts of meat or different varieties of vegetables, or just slow down and enjoy the fact that you could actually understand how that food was being grown.
I think the pandemic, as far as I've been listening to all our customers and my friends, they're all starting to buy more local food because they realize they don't trust the boxes coming from China and the States and Mexico. They want to, they're scared. Good. You should be.
What do you think would be the role of small farms in this future of food?
Most small farms have the capacity or in the land to grow more food. Their biggest challenge is access to a market. And so a farm's ability to grow is actually limited by their ability to sell. That's what I mean. I think we're still only at a small fraction of what small farms are capable of achieving in Canada.
It's something like 60 or 70% of the small farmers in the world feed us anyway. So we're far ahead of the game. So the feeling that, people think, GMOs need to feed the world is untrue. So, the change has started, but we need to really wrap it up in Canada.
What do you think is wrong with the industrial agriculture system?
Well, they say we have 60 harvests left. on the earth. 60. Because our soils are so depleted. So the industrial agriculture has ruined the soils. Took about 100 years, but they did it. I mean, we use more water in cattle production than fracking. It is the industry that pollutes more water than any industry in the world. Dead zones, I mean, the byproducts from cattle. So that's just cows, you know, and we can still eat meat. We just have to eat the right meat.
Where the power shows up in the food system, I think, is in that kind of regulatory framework. Increased regulations are a disadvantage to small and encourage consolidation, and something becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that, I think, is the history of our food system in Canada over the last, I want to say, like 3 decades that I know about for sure, but most likely longer than that too.
I want my food back. I want our food power back. You know, the food industry is now telling us what to feed our kids and what's healthy. And, you know, the commercials on the television are all fast food. And I'm done with that. I want our power back. And that's what this is about.
What do you see next for the future of food?
That's one where I'm optimistic. Food buying and food purchasing and preparation is a habit that we each develop, you know, that fits into our lives. And so I'm optimistic that something such as the pandemic, which just kind of really broke down all of our normal habits and ways of going about our lives, you know, what is this window to form new ones? And I think some of what we've seen is going to stick. I think that this model, this thing that we've been playing around with here, there's potential for this thing to be replicated elsewhere at fairly low cost while achieving the same impact.
I think our children in the future will laugh at us. Like, we have apples here. I have an apple orchard in my farm. But we import apples from New Zealand. Why? You know, and we don't win with this agricultural system. This is just for the big agribusiness. The middle class person, we don't win from this. When we move away from this system, we're going to make a lot of people happy. We're going to make a lot of people happy, healthier. It's going to be great.
Thank you for your time. It was great to talk to you again.
No, thank you. Yeah, and if you need anything else, please just get in touch. Like, text is always a good way to track me down. Sorry, yeah.
Thank you. Okay,
La pandémie affecte tous les aspects de notre société. Ce changement de paradigme expose à la vue de tous les faiblesses de notre système. Il ne faudra pas oublier trop vite ce que nous vivons actuellement afin que ces changements d'habitude perdurent. Si toute notre attention est tournée aujourd'hui vers la Covid, nous vivons déjà une autre crise qui affectera aussi notre alimentation, celle du changement climatique. Et là aussi, nous n'aurons pas le choix que de repenser en profondeur le futur de notre alimentation.